And as a leader of the association, Wayne has led the NRA through the most incredible, hard-fought victories.
Specifically, Mr. LaPierre spent hundreds of thousands of dollars of the NRA's charitable assets for personal private plane trips for himself and his family.
And in large part, because of him and his tireless work, our Second Amendment freedom has been preserved.
If I'm a Republican and I'm a fan of the NRA, do I want to say no or yes to legislation that does this?
I think you want to tell ATF to do its job. It's an interpretive issue, and they need to get the job done.
But I have to tell you, our success over the last 4 decades has also been a lot about Wayne.
He visited the Bahamas by private air charter at least 8 times in an approximate 3-year period with his family at a cost of more than $500,000 to the NRA.
It's hard, folks. He's done a Herculean job.
He traveled on multiple luxury hunting safaris in Africa at the expense of an NRA vendor. He spent millions of dollars on unwanted travel consultants for decades, including for the booking of luxury black car service.
He goes toe-to-toe in fierce defense of our liberty and our Second Amendment rights.
You sure about that?
And our Second Amendment rights has actually risen from the brink of extinction to one of the most protected freedoms in the Constitution.
You sure about that?
We finished last year at almost 5.5 million members. Can you believe that? The largest in NRA history.
Bruh.
As I stand here today, I'm reminded that we, all of us, give so much. You give so much.
Money, 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 money.
Mr. LaPierre exploited the organization for his and his family's financial benefit.
In fact, the challenges that the National Rifle Association and all of us face right now are unprecedented.
They use millions upon millions of dollars from the NRA for personal use, including for lavish trips for themselves and their families, private jets, expensive meals, and other private travel.
Look where we are today. We're embroiled in controversy.
In the past 2 years alone, Mr. LaPierre spent more than $3.6 million. He secured a post-employment contract for himself with the NRA without board approval, currently valued at more than $17 million.
Looking ahead, I can tell you that the character and the identity of the National Rifle Association is going to reveal itself in front of the country in the most visible of ways.
He received more than $1.2 million in reimbursement in just a 4-year period for expenditures that included gifts for favored friends and vendors, travel expenses for himself and his family.
We're going to speak out, I promise you, as loudly and as boldly as you have ever seen us do.
You sure about that?
We are never going to give up 1 inch
You sure about that?
of our Second Amendment freedom or our First Amendment freedom as we go through this.
So Congress should provide funding for states to adopt risk protection orders. These laws allow a court to intervene and temporarily remove firearms when a person threatens violence to themselves or others.
I promise you, we at the NRA will always defend our right to protect ourselves.
Wayne has led the NRA through the most incredible, hard-fought victories.
And membership fees at golf clubs, hotels, and other member clubs. He even secured lucrative consulting contracts for ex-employees and board members worth millions of dollars.
Money, 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 money.
In addition to grossly misusing these funds for personal use, Mr. LaPierre created an illegal pass-through arrangement to conceal the very nature of these expenditures. These expenses would then be paid for by the NRA without written approval, without receipts, without any supporting business purpose documentation.
A lot about Wayne.
Ackerman McQueen would aggregate the expenses into a lump sum amount and then bill them to the NRA without any details on the nature or purpose of the expense, completely in violation of state law.
And in large part because of him and his tireless work.
These expenses did not comply with IRS requirements, and as a result, all such expenses should have been included by the NRA in taxable personal income for Mr. LaPierre and other recipients.
We won't accept it, we will resist it, and we're not going to give an inch. I promise every one of you that.
Are you willing to advance a clean bump stocks bill, or will you insist on a broader gun control package?
I am willing to move forward with the Republicans on banning these bump stocks that, as you mentioned,
Would you be okay with banning bump stocks?
Well, we don't believe that bans have ever worked on anything. What we've said has been very clear, that if something transfers a semi-automatic to function like fully automatic, then it ought to be regulated differently.
Nani?
And let's be honest about this. What we're facing right now is a political movement in this country to repeal the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution.
So, however that gets fixed, I'd probably support it.
Ain't nobody got time for that.